Welcome to the Nomad Network, your first stop for complete and comprehensive Chicago Bears football coverage. Dive deep into analyses, updates, and all things Bears. Subscribe to our YouTube channel today and never miss a beat. Thank you in advance for your support. We promise to bring you the best because together we're unstoppable. Go Bears!
Yo, no maniacs. Welcome into another edition of Feed the Bears, where I do my job to help you out and feed you all the Bears, all the content that I can give you. As promised, this week, I knew we were going to have to ramp up the content phase of what we do over here. And, I'm going to start getting out here and doing more daily shows. And today I'm just doing it by myself. I'm just out here to kick it with you all. I'm in between. Actually, my girlfriend just passed her test, become a CNA. That's important to her because she's been in another industry for a long time, and she was in a lot of management stuff, and that stuff became a little too stressful for her, and she wanted to change positions, not positions, but change careers and go in. She went in as an entry-level, non-professional. Now she's a professional, and that's just her first check mark in a long line of checks she wants to make in this new profession she's going. So we're going to do some celebrating tonight, have a good time with her and celebrate because I'm proud of her. But yeah, man, we're going to be doing that this evening. That's why I'm out here right now at this time, and it's new for most of the people. It ain't used to me doing content during the day. It's always nighttime stuff. That's usually what we do at the Nomad Network. But today I decided, let me go hang out with the No Maniacs and Super No Maniacs and see what's on their minds. This is the second day of real practice for the Chicago Bears, and I can sense some anxieties. We're gonna talk about all that. Any questions you got, any statements you got, you want to make, you want to talk to me about anything, go ahead, hit me up in the chat. We can talk about each thing you want to talk about. But let me give a shout out to the two people I see here already, who is Liberty's Outlook. Shout out to Liberty's Outlook, first one in the chat, and also Dobie46. He said Bears man is worrying because before the season even starts. That's how you know the season's about to start. Yeah, man. Hey, look, part of the reason why I wanted to go live today is I was trying my best last night. If you didn't catch that show last night, it's 3 hours worth of content. It's good content, man. We got deep into the weeds about a lot of stuff last night. And, the worrying part of it is mainly what I'm here to discuss today. It's too early to be worrying, guys, is what I want to say to you all. Caleb Williams, that's second day of practice, second day of installs. Let me just pull it back a little bit. Let me rewind back a little bit, just for people who, you hear about training camp. You get all the reporters telling you little notes and nuggets about what goes on at training camp. Let me be, training camp is training camp. My experience in training camp is all, especially at the very beginning, it's conditioning. Number one is conditioning. Two, it's a lot of individual drills. I'm talking about in the very first couple, 2 or 3 days of that thing, the first week or so. It's a lot of shorts, a lot of, T-shirts. It's really not a lot to be thinking about other than the install phase of what they do. The install process, especially for an offense, a new offense with a new play caller, a young quarterback, very young quarterback in the second year, you can expect to see a bunch and hear about a bunch of different things going wrong. That's all it is. It's just, you're going through pain just to get to a certain point of game. That's all. You want to see those struggles. You want to hear about it. No, it's not smooth. It's not going to be smooth. Not for a minute here. Couple, 2 or 3 weeks into this, holler at me in another 2 weeks maybe. And if we're still experiencing some of the stuff that we're experiencing and hearing about right now, then it's time to throw up the antennas, man. It's some worry to start doing. But right now, it's they're getting acclimated to each other, figuring out exactly what the play caller wants, how to get in and out of the huddle. Seems like an ongoing thing for Caleb Williams, getting in and out of the huddle on time, getting to the line of scrimmage and getting through the cadence, making sure he's checking everything. That kind of stuff, it sounds, when you look at it on TV, it looks like the most simple thing in the world. But it ain't. It's a lot of verbiage, and it's a lot of everybody needs to be on cue to wait for their part of the play to be called. And if there's any checks at the line of scrimmage, you need to know what they are. So between the quarterback, the offensive lineman, the receivers, and the running back, they all hear a certain thing in the huddle when the play call is announced. They, in a certain amount of time, he's got to get that message delivered to those guys. And then once he breaks the huddle, they got to get to the line. And hopefully, ideally, what you will want to have yourself at least 15 seconds to kind of play with. And you can kind of survey everything you see in front of you, kind of get everybody where they need to be, and then run your play on time. And so you're not up against the clock all the time. Sounds to me like that is like the main issue right now on the offensive side of the ball. It's just getting the verbiage out in the huddle. Everybody knows where they're going, breaking the huddle, getting to the line of scrimmage, getting through your cadence, and having enough time to, if you're not seeing what you need to see, boom, hit that T, get that timeout. All that stuff is just operation of the offense 101. But it is not easy when you don't know exactly what you're doing. And so it's from what I understand so far, it's a lot of Caleb Williams under center, which is exactly what I was hoping for. You know, I was really, really hoping for. When I know he's under center, I know it's going to be a lot of play action. If he's doing a lot of reps under center, we're going to see a lot of play action. We're going to see a lot of run game. That's what you can expect. And so hearing that is really, that's a relief for me because I don't want to see him back there and shotgun too many times when he doesn't need to be. Because once we start seeing too much of that, then it's probably something not going right with the operation part of him being under center. That means they probably kind of quit on the whole thing and decide to get him in a situation more comfortable for him. I don't know if that's the best thing for him, though. I think in order to be an NFL quarterback and a really successful one, you need to be pretty proficient under center and in the play action game. I think you need to be very proficient in that, as a matter of fact. So that's just what I'm hoping for. But there's other stuff we're going to talk about as far as what I heard from practice today. But let me get to a couple of comments and see what people are saying. Shout out to Squeegee, who just busted up in this piece. Cloud Chasers Radio just busted up in here. But yeah, we'll get back to Caleb Williams here in a minute. And I'm not going to be out here too damn long. I'm going to stay as long as I feel like there's stuff to talk about. And then we're going to go ahead and close the show. But by the way, man, the Cash App there is there. And I don't mention it that much and speak to it that much, but we can always use support and donations. And to be clear with you all, whenever people send donations, and some people aren't really comfortable sending super chats and things like that, this is for those people who just want to directly send help to the Nomad Network, and you don't want to do it through super chat. Super chat, you know, just for your information, YouTube takes 30% of whatever it is you send the network. Cash App, this way I can get it directly, put it directly in the business account and start helping the channel. I don't use this stuff for my own personal gain. It goes directly to the channel and whatever we need for the channel. And so I would encourage you all, if you can and you're willing, go ahead and hit that Cash App up. It's right there at the bottom. Almost choked up right there. But all right, let me see some more of these statements here. Let me see. Oh, yeah. I heard about Justin Fields getting carted off. That hopefully it's not as bad as it sounds when you hear somebody getting carted off. So part of the news with that, I heard he was carted off, but he was able to walk into the locker room on his own power, you know, with his own strength and mobility. So it was a toe that got stepped on, I heard, in the first day of practice, and today it just kind of got worse, I guess. I don't know. That's just what I read on ESPN's article. But, man, shout out to Justin Fields. Prayers up for him, bro. He's got a dislocated toe. That might be, I seen that news probably 2 hours ago. So that might be an updated report right there, Cloud Chaser. So I appreciate that. I just want him to I want him to succeed. I don't care if he's not the Bears quarterback. He was a Bears quarterback, and I was a fan of him, and I'm going to root for him no matter where he goes. I'm kind of that way with any Bears player. But, you know, unless you go to Green Bay or something like that, then I can't deal with that. But prayers up for Justin Fields. Send him some good energy, man. He's going to need it. Hopefully he gets back on that field sooner rather than later. Let me see here. Yeah, Andre Bryant. Yeah. Let me see. He says the Jets AC said it's a toe injury, but mentioned that the backup QB, he knows Justin won't be available no more in training camp. Oh, man, that's bad news. That's bad news. Yeah, it's hurting. I heard for him from a distance, man. He has everything riding on this season. Everything. It's like everything that he hoped and dreamed for his football career, all was prepared for him for this season. He was set up in the about the best way he could be set up for, in the situations that he's in, man. So prayers out to Justin Fields. Shout out to AC Adam, just busted up in this piece. But yeah, let me see some more news I heard about today. Also, yeah, we cut and re-signed Alex Cook, who was already on the team, and that is unlike me. No, every little you guys know I go deep in the roster and give you as much detail. Every individual player we have on this team, I try my best to do a good job at doing that. But somehow, some way, it got by me that Alex Cook was even on this team. And so Alex Cook is a safety, 6 foot, 204 pounds, out of Washington. I wish and I hope that my guy Nod sees this video, because he's from the Washington Huskies, college Washington Huskies, and he was in that DB room with Kyler and McDuffie. That was one of the better secondaries I've seen in college in a long, long time, and he was a part of that. He was let's say quasi free safety, quasi strong safety. What I could tell you about Alex Cook is his strengths are, to me, in my opinion, his strengths are playing in the box. I'm not saying that he can't play out high, because he can. He's versatile like that. He can move and he can move out and play. I would just say a little less than equally. I think he's a better box safety than he is a free safety, but he's a tackler. He's a tackler and a hitter. He will finish the play. And that's what you want, man. They cut Tarvarius Moore, who's been here off and on for the last couple of years, I do believe, and just couldn't stick with us, man. So I'm excited for Alex Cook. I can't tell you he's going to be a world beater, because in college it looks one way, and then when you get in the professional ranks, he was a UDFA for the Giants, ended up with Carolina, I think, last year, and so he's just trying to find a home somewhere. That's what he's trying to do, and he's trying to do what he can to get on this roster and maybe stick and hang around for a little while. You never know in this camp, and I do believe that they have. I would just say there's a possibility that they feel some way about safety role, backup safety guys. I don't know if you're comfortable with what they have in the building. There could be room goes. Who knows? But you can tell by some of the movements offseason, during free agency, during the draft. We're talking about the UDFA period and some of the signings they've made recently. You can tell that they're unsure about the safety position. Yeah, and you're never going to really know, to be quite honest with you, until next week, until we get to deep into next week. Once they have the pads on, they've had the pads on for about a good week, you're not really going to know exactly what you have. You like the way they move out on the field. If they got range, if they're picking up checks and keys, if they're, kind of, taking in the information and being able to put it on the grass. And so that's all you can kind of determine right now until they put on the pads. So we keep an eye on the safety position. It's something that I've been harping and kind of pounding the table about all offseason. Let's see what they do here. I love Elijah Hicks, and he quite possibly is the number 3 safety. But what do they do to bolster those 4 or 5? You need about another 2 safeties to be secure on your team, at least 2 to 3 safeties. You know what I mean? To be secure. How do they feel about it? I don't know. New coaching staff. And so we'll see. But let me look in the chat, see what everybody's saying. We got some news on Burden, too. What happened with Burden? We're going to talk about him in just a minute. Cloud Chaser says Ben Johnson said Luther's hamstring still bothering him, but he's been in the building along with Jalen Johnson. Talk about him in a second here. Zay Frazier, Squeegee says, I know he said Zay Frazier was excused, but I rewinded the tape twice. He couldn't figure out what he said, what the why was. There's no telling. It's probably something personal going on in his personal life, and he needed to tend to it. Who knows? It could be any number of things. But, anytime those young boys, especially Luther, who's projected to probably be taking a starting role, you would assume being the first, second rounder that we get, that guy's got a lot of pressure on him. And him missing all this this, all this OTA, all this. This is not good, man. I'm not saying panic, but it's not good. Anytime you got a rookie that you expect to play a significant role in your offense, and he's not there for most of the OTAs, he's not there for the beginning of training camp, naturally people are going to ask questions like, what is the deal? Like last night, I went off on I wouldn't say a tangent, but I was doing a lot of assuming, man. I was making a lot of assumptions. And quite frankly, I still believe this to be true. It's quite possible that Luther Burden just isn't in football shape yet. And he came in out of shape. And what does that mean? That doesn't, like, football shape is different than regular walking around shape. And, you know, you can look good in the mirror and not be conditioned to play a football game or conditioned to participate in the rigors of practice. And so they put you through a conditioning test when you get back in the building, whatever day you get back there. And when they get done conditioning with you, they'll put you on that thing, put you on a respirator and see what kind of wind you have, all that kind of stuff, you know, check your body fat and all that kind of stuff that goes on. And if they determine that you're not physically ready to go out there and perform and go through the rigors of training camp, then they'll hold you back, keep you in the training room until you get to where you need to be, and then put you out on the field and give you some kind of bullcrap diagnosis as to why you're not on there. But he's not on a PUP or the NFI, so they can have him not go out there and not tell you anything. They'll know what's going on, but we won't, which I'm cool with. I have no problem not knowing. This is just me assuming what could possibly be going on. Now, Luther Burden, I told you I saw him on that video. Go back and look at his little training video when he came to Hallis Hall and was doing his little drills in there. There was a part of it when he was laying on a training table getting a massage by the masseuse, and he just didn't look like football shape to me. That could be me just over speculating. I don't know, but I just encourage you all to go back and look at that video that he's got out there. He didn't look like I would think, like I know a normal in shape football player should look like training camp. He didn't look good to me. Looked a little soft to me, but that's just my opinion. You guys go back and look at it yourself and tell me what you think. Let me look at a couple statements in here or questions. It's good news. Comments not coming up. If he trust and believe, he's got something going on. Trust and believe. He's working inside that building. But yeah, I'll keep my eye on the Luther Burden situation. Zay Frazier, I don't know if there's any reason to be concerned about that situation. I think he's just, whatever it is, it's probably something personal and that the world doesn't need to know about, but I'm sure he'll be back in camp as soon as possible. Here's another little bit of news that I don't know if it is news, but Braxton Jones continues to take the first 1 reps. You know, he's still in a ramp-up period, so this is probably in 7-on-7, I would assume, and then they get him back into his, you know, probably put him back on a bike or doing little things like that to get his body back acclimated to playing football. And then when the 11-on-11s came out, Kieran Amagazi swapped out with Ozzie Trapillo, who was taking the number 1 reps after Braxton got off the field yesterday. So they turned it around. Now it's Kieran Amagazi taking the ones on 11-on-11s, and I believe Ozzie Trapillo's with the second group. So you can see that they're trying to rotate guys in and get them out and give them their opportunities to get reps with the ones, and you know, and again. Right now, it's just really about retention and getting in and out of the huddle, knowing exactly what to do on each play. You're still never going to know exactly what you have until those pads go on with the offensive line. They want to get to an answer about who's going to be that starting left tackle, but there's no way to know until at least a week or into full. You know, you can just hear a whole lot that don't mean nothing. This is nothing compared to the how it's going to intensify next week. And so we'll find out. We'll start getting closer and closer to an answer about that left tackle role in about a week and a half from now. You know what I mean? I think they'll start having an idea who they think the starting left tackle is. But this all depends on how many reps they can give Braxton Jones. Is he healthy enough to take the full amount of reps that he should get in the training? He seems and sounds to me the way everybody's talking about Braxton Jones, it sounds like he's fully ready for this training camp. That's something I was concerned about. beforehand, was he going to be fully operational before this camp started? I was thinking maybe not, maybe a couple, 2, 3 weeks in, maybe not even a camp at all. But I'm happy. That's good news because, no matter who ends up being started, we know we have 3 solid options there. If Braxton Jones ends up being the cream of that crop, I'm not one of those Bears fans that's going to run around and complain about that. He's just going to be the best left tackle that we have, and that's going to, I don't know what that's going to mean moving forward for the second round of who we just got, and also the third round that we got the year before that, Kieran Amagaji. But we'll see about that. Let me look at some comments in here. Salute to my guy King Buka up in this piece. Let me see. Nah, we ain't shutting down the season yet, man. We ain't gonna shut it down. You know what, King? You know me, man. I'm gonna come out here and I'm gonna pour cold water on some of that BS that I hear out there. I'm gonna do that every time because most of the time the people that are doing the most talking aren't necessarily the people that have experienced training camps and different stuff like that as a football player. And they got all right in the world to have a podcast and be talking about all the stuff that I'm over here talking about. Just because you wasn't a football player doesn't mean you're exempt from talking about football and talking about the Bears. You talk about it all you want, but I can understand why some of these people get a little bit they over exaggerate how they feel about it. They are worried about certain when they hear about Caleb Williams. That's because they know what it's like to be out there and go through an install phase of a new offense. That's why they don't know what that's like. It's a whole lot of whistles, start all over. Start all over. Get off the field. Give me some more guys out here. Because the coaches are absolutely they have their back against the wall as far as time goes. They only have a short window to get a whole lot of stuff done. And so patience is not a virtue with coaches right now. And so if it's Caleb Williams, if it's offensive line, if it's the receiver group, the running back, if something's off kilter, the coaches his temperature is just going to go up more and more and more. He's going to get frustrated. The players are going to get frustrated. But that's the very beginning phases of install, especially with a new offense. It's a lot of that more than a whole lot of oiled up, really nice looking structured football from an offense, which is what I guess people expect that don't know what these camps are like. That's what they expect. That's just nonsensical. That's just nonsensical. If that's what you expect, this team to come out and be an oiled offense and execute perfectly and properly in the first year of a head coach, second year for a quarterback that's in a brand new offense, that's foolishness. Yes, it's going to be hiccups, of course. But those people who haven't experienced that, they don't know what it looks like. And so I'm telling you, this is perfectly healthy, hit and miss stuff that goes on in a camp right now. It's perfectly fine, man. Perfectly fine. Let me get to some other stuff. Yes, that's right, AC. He says Braxton showing he ain't giving up left tackle without a fight. Rightfully so. He shouldn't. He's supposed to fight. And I believe it's a good chance Braxton Jones could end up being the starter. And I know that doesn't sit well with a lot of people, man. A lot of people. But if he ends up being the cream of the crop, all I care about is they put the best 5 out there. That's all I care about. That's all. Put the best 5 guys out there. I don't care what it looks like. Just put them out there. Don't put a guy out there that's not ready. We love I loved Ozzie Trapillo's tape. As boring as it was, I like Kieran Amagaji, even though he got torched in one game against Minnesota. I didn't give up on him then because I know he had a game against Washington when he looked really good. And so, you got 2 sides of that coin to look at. And, Ozzie has some really, really good structural tape. I'm talking about like some of the most boring tape to watch was Ozzie Trapillo, if I could say, was absolutely boring because he did everything so well. So it's a good boring, I would say, a very good boring. I mean, he's not making a whole lot of. His game was very mature. That's probably the best way to describe it. It didn't look like a college player to me. It looked like a polished professional football player. You can tell that somebody that's professional, which is his father, was somebody that played the game at least was helping him out, man. He's very structurally sound, and you love that. But we're gonna see what it translates to in the NFL. Let me get to a couple more statements. Yeah, that's right, Squeegee. No overreacting here, bro. Yeah, King. He says I just laugh at it. This ain't Madden. You just don't pick up the controller and it's all good, man. That you can say that, man. That's exactly what a lot of these guys think. They think it's just, you put them out there and everything should be running perfectly. That's just not the case, man. It's football. It's a learning phase, man. They have to get around the learning curve right now. And they haven't even really started yet. So yeah, man, it doesn't make any sense. Squeegee says Trapillo and Jones were working drills together today. That's good to hear about. I haven't even gone to Twitter, which is a lot of video on Twitter that shows little individual work, 7-on-7 work, and all that kind of stuff. I haven't had time to do that today, but I will. And let me see. King Booker says, either way, the left we have a good starter and nice depth. And that you couldn't say that, King, for the last couple, 2-3 years, at least since the Flus regime was here. It was just a bunch of C-level players that they picked up from wherever. And, that was our depth. And you feel good about this depth because it's a sense of strength there. When this camp is done, and however this left tackle situation sorts itself out, you want to look at this offensive line in each position group and come away with the idea that our offensive line is a strength now. I don't know when the last time, I can't think of a time when I can actually tell you that comfortably, probably since the Lovey days, when Olin was here, that I felt like the offensive line was a strength of ours. I could not tell you since then with any sense of I feel confident in telling you that. I couldn't tell you that since then. And it's been too long to have a subpar offensive line. And now we're starting to get it into shape, starting to get the pieces that we need. And I feel really good about it. And no matter how this thing shakes out, I'm going to feel pretty solid about what we got up front. I'm going to feel pretty good about it because I do think they made some really good moves this offseason to bolster that, especially the interior of the line. But, figuring out that left tackle, man, either way it goes, I think we're in a good spot, bro. For real. All right. What up, Crimson? Busted up in this piece, man. I'm glad to see everybody in here. I know this is off schedule for us, but we're going to have to get used to putting out some daytime content, especially while it's camp. People want to hear about the updates. And, I'm going to do my job as a podcaster to make sure we give y'all all we can give y'all. Let me see. Squeegee says, I'd like to see Trapillo win it with Jones in there healthy. That way, when the bullets fly, the kid won't have to second guess if he should be in there or not. Yeah. I know it's a lot of people cheering for Ozzie Trapillo. So am I. But I'm just not going to go in hard on who I think is going to win this job because I have no idea. I think people are underestimating Braxton Jones, to be honest with you. Not to say that Trapillo isn't good enough, but I'm telling you guys, you should go back and look at the All 22 video that I did on Braxton Jones. I did that about 3 months ago. That video was a really solid breakdown as to why I think Braxton Jones is a way above average offensive tackle. His problem is, and it's one problem. His bull rush, attacking the bull rush and being sturdy in that overrides everything that most people that I could break down on tape. So even though the breakdown was really good, it showed Braxton Jones in a really good light. When you see the bull rush shortcomings, that kind of tends to override everything you just saw that was good. And that's the bad thing about Braxton Jones, because as good as he is, when it comes down to the nitty gritty and it's a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, and you're out there one-on-one on an island and it's coming, for a fact that this dude is going to bull rush you, but you got to try and stop him one way or other. And I don't have a chip. And he consistently couldn't get that done. Got walked all the way into the backfield. And so that quarterback is going to be on heightened alert, knowing that, okay, this is my potential. My blind spot is my weakness right now. And I might have to mentally adjust to, okay, if I can't see it, I need to feel it. And so I might go to default and just, you know what, I'm not sure Braxton Jones can hold him for 2.5, 3 seconds. So I'm going to just run without even seeing if there's pressure coming. You got that to deal with, you know, as with Braxton Jones as your starting left tackle. You got that to deal with. So it hamstrings the quarterback to an extent, especially on your money plays. And so that's the problem. You know what I mean? You want a tackle out there that's a stalwart. It's going to be a stomp down. I'm going to whoop you before you whoop me on third down money situations. We can't say for sure that Braxton Jones is that. That's that. Therein lies a problem right there. But let me look at some of this stuff in here. Let me see. I feel the same way, King. He says, I feel great about a lot because of the coaching that we have now. I do too, man. I know whatever kinks we got going on, I believe we got the coaches in here to get them ironed out for real, man. And, you know, I'm not poo-pooing the other coaches that they were professional coaches. They knew what they were doing. All this stuff about they didn't know how to coach. That's some bullshit. They knew what they were doing. They just did not execute well with what they had. You know what I'm saying? They just did not use it well. So I'm talking about Flus on the defense, just kept putting them in vulnerable positions and making them look bad. The offense, you know, they shot themselves in the foot a lot. Caleb shot them in the foot a lot. You know, the offensive line shot them in the foot a lot. If I had to blame anything for the shortcomings of that offense last year, first place I would look is the offensive line. How well DeAndre Swift did or didn't do, I attribute to the offensive line. And so to me, that was the beginning and the end. And our defensive line, once Billings went down, that was the beginning of the end for that regime. And, you know, you don't have good, you're not solid in the trenches, you're in trouble. Let me see here. Yeah, man, you're right about that, Liberty. Let me put that back. Let me pull that back up. Hold on. Give me a second. I'm going to pull that one back up. And I should talk about that, man. He said, Liberty's outlook says, the negativity spans generations of fans. I refuse to give Liberty. I'm gonna tell you, we are brothers from another mother. It's because it's not like I haven't seen the exact same things all these fans. I've watched years and years, decades of Bears football before my time. I've watched the ups, I've watched the downs. To me, Liberty, depending on who you are as an individual, are you more prone to a negative way of thinking, a negative mindset, complaining, like that's going to do you any good in life? It does you no good in life. What the fuck use is it complaining about something? I take this. I've always looked at it this way. And I learned this from a coach a long time ago. And it sounds very, very cliche. Whatever happened the play before, whatever happened last year, whatever happened yesterday, flush the dog shit out of it. Because that was then. This is now. And so a lot of the complaints you hear about the Bears, people will start here. It always seems to start here whenever I look at stuff. For years, the Bears have done, they don't know what they're doing. They've been in their mom and pop organization. They don't do anything right. All that old bitching. And it's all talking about the past. No consideration to they put a completely different front office together today that ain't the same as the one yesterday. No consideration given. Instead of they just lump it into some of the shortcomings we've had throughout time, throughout history, and just put it all together as one and just bitch all the time. I've been a fan of this team as long as you have. Some people out there are way older than me. Maybe you've been involved and been invested longer, but trust me, the same sense of frustration, the same sense of, man, we got to get this done. I'm tired of being a team that's not pushing for a Super Bowl, pushing for a championship. I share those same feelings with you. But the negativity about it, I refuse to buy into that. I refuse to buy in. I believe in when they end the season, that very next year, which is right now, I'm giving this team a clean slate. I'm not going to put nothing historically on these guys. Not one single dude in that locker room, even if he was on the team the last couple of years. Doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't make a damn difference. Give these guys some credence for today. Flush the old shit, man. Flush the old shit. I don't listen to that shit, man. That's beyond me. That's for people that like to complain all the time. I ain't got time for it. But let me look at some more of these comments. All right, let me see here. Let me see. Oh, my guy, Crimson said, he said, I just spent a bit too much of my time seeing the QB in between Braxton and that's true, man. That is so true. That is so true. Chris Morgan, yeah, he struggled as a coach, man. He really did. I think we kept him a couple years too long, in my opinion, for sure. You know, I think in fact, King, I think that's partly due to Eberflus's firing. Part of that is due to why people view polls in a negative light. And I'm gonna put it all together for you. And I tell people this all the time, King. You know, we can, at the end of the day, the buck stops with Ryan Poles. When it comes to any decisions being made, if it's right or not right, they're always gonna point the finger at Poles. Never really giving consideration to. Poles is just not willy-nilly picking up phones and saying, you know what, I'm gonna put this guy on the team. I'm gonna go make a move for him. I'm gonna put him on the team. I'm gonna draft this guy or not draft this guy because this is what I want to do. He doesn't do those things in a vacuum, not in the utility closet by himself. He is taking the wishes of his coaches and that staff to whatever decision that he makes. And so as porous as that offensive line has been since Flus was here, those decisions were largely made by Chris Morgan and the offensive staff and Coach Eberflus. And they gave Ryan Poles his marching orders as to who to get, who not to go and get. It could have been Poles having a ton of guys on this list that he wanted to make moves for to make the offensive line better. But that team, Flus was extremely stubborn. Extremely stubborn. And I think that he wanted to believe so hardly in so badly in Chris Morgan. If Chris Morgan told him, okay, these guys that we have in here, I can work with them. I'll get them better. I'll get them improved and we'll be fine. I bet you 9 times out of 10, it was a lot of that going on. We're fine. I can work with these guys in here. I'll get them to improve. And we didn't make moves that we should have. And everybody suffered for it. But that, again, that's yesterday. That's why that was. In my opinion, that's what went down, in my opinion. I have no way to prove it, but my assumptions are typically on point most of the time. I'm just saying. All right, let me look at some other statements here. Let me see. He said they had no relevant experience on the staff, though. Most of the position coaches, some of those guys had a little experience, but it looked like the homeboy network or something going on, man. There's just too much friendship going on and not finding the right coaches, in my opinion. Let me see. Squeegee says, I like Braxton, but he is in the last year of his rookie contract, and unless he has a miracle comeback this season, I'm not looking to extend him. So finding his replacements is important. That could be the thought process, man. That could very well, Squeegee, be the thought process. You know, you can see around the corner a little bit at what the Bears think or plan on doing with Braxton Jones. You know, I don't want to see happen is we weaken that room by being, you know, in a hurry to part ways with Braxton Jones. What if we could keep him and keep him for a certain amount of money? I don't know. But I want that. I just want the room to be a strength. And I think Braxton Jones is a nice piece to have. Here's the thing to think about, though, while we're talking about Braxton Jones is, you know, you heard Ben Johnson yesterday, or was it today? No, I think it was the very first day of practice when he mentioned that, you know, it's going to be important because we played so much. This is a 17-game season, and it's important that we have guys that are flexible. I'm talking about the offensive line. I'm talking about guys that are versatile enough to do more than one thing. And the thing about that is when he said it, first thing that came to my mind is he's talking about mostly the tackles. I know Darnell Wright can go to the left side, but we don't know that Braxton Jones can go to the I know that Braxton Jones can go to the left side, not Braxton Jones. Excuse me, man. Darnell Wright can move to the left side, but we don't know if Braxton Jones can move to the right. We don't have anything on tape to have reference to we feel comfortable with Braxton Jones playing the right side. Now, if at some point, if they are serious about maintaining some versatility within that bunch, they need to get Braxton Jones right tackle reps. Because if he doesn't win this job, obviously he's going to end up trying to being a swing tackle, right? Am I right or wrong? If he does not win this job outright, and one of these other guys ends up being the starter, if he can't play swing tackle, I don't know how we keep him, because he's a little bit less valuable unless he can swing. If he can only play one position, to me, that harms the whole group who can move around a little bit. He's the only one that can't move from left to right. To me, I think that needs to happen. They need to give him right tackle reps just in case. That's just my opinion, Let me see some other comments here. See here. Let me see. Okay, I think he's talking about a comment I made earlier. Let me see. Oh, Liberty's Outlook says he started following the Bears in the early 70s when he was in high school. That's a while, man. That's a while. Shout out to you for hanging in there that long. I'm a diehard. I'm never going to stop no matter what goes on. And, I tell you this, Liberty, to me, it's an honor and a privilege now, because I was on the outside looking in and having feelings and thoughts about the Bears for years and years and years. And I wished I could, have a community of people to talk to about it. And so I can break it down, even before I knew there was podcasts out here talking about the Bears, I would sense it, different people. I'd be at different people's houses or at different places watching the game. And I hear so much different stuff. And every now and again, you hear somebody saying some wild shit. I'm like, and you end up in conversation with them trying to explain some stuff that they were misunderstood about. But for years, I wish that I had a community like we have now, to actually have real, legit conversations about the X's and O's that the Bears are dealing with right now. And here we are. It's the best thing in the world for me, just having a chance to express myself about all those years like you, Liberty, just going through it, it's a hell of a thing, man. I do feel like this, man. I really feel like the Bears have, because you can only screw up so many times before you luck up and get it right. I really think they got the right kind of ingredients inside the building, from the front office down to the coaches, down to the personnel on the field. I feel like they've got it right. That feeling as a Bears fan, do I have my Bears hat on right now? Yes. I can take it off and tell you the same thing. I feel good about what I see on paper. But that's why we do podcasts. That's why we do this content, to break down that paper is just paper. What you put on the grass once they put those pads on. Next week is the real nitty gritty. You want to hear some strong takes from Nomad? Wait till they put them pads on for about a week. And if we're experiencing some of the stuff that I'm hearing about now, in a week from the pads going on, you're gonna hear a very much more direct Nomad about some stuff, because something's not going right. If they're still struggling with the same stuff they're struggling with today, by the time the week ends of the pads, so the very beginning part of next week, they'll have pads on. And by the time the week ends, if we're having same conversations, similar conversations that we're having now, and you haven't seen a market improvement, then you're gonna hear a much more forceful Nomad. Because now it's time to put the foot on the gas. And if stuff ain't working now, it's time to start looking at some other options. You know what I mean? It was really time to start thinking about some other things, because we're not in the place that we need to be. You guys know how fast 6 weeks can go in life, but it goes even faster in a training camp. It's over in a blip, because you only get to spend a certain amount of allotted hours on the field and in the facility with them, and then they have to go. It's not like they're there 24/7. No, you're on there for about 2-3 hours, and then you're gone. And that's it. And you got to wait until the next day to make the improvements of what you messed up yesterday. And before you know it, this shit will be over. And I want to know, I believe 110% that those joint practices is going to tell us a whole lot. In fact, I believe by the time we get to that, that's when we'll That's when I think, at least the first or second practice, I think we'll know who the left tackle is by then. That period right there should determine that, in my opinion. We'll know. We'll know. And so, yeah, 6 weeks goes by fast, and you don't have time to waste, man. You got to get it done, and we better not be going through some of the same stuff we're dealing with today and in another week and a half. Hell no, we better not. Nope. All right, let me look at some of this other stuff in here. Squeegee says he's from the class of 85. Shout out to Squeegee, man. 85 up in his biatch. Let me see. Booker says, I got 40 years in the game with this team. I'll ride or die, good or bad. Now it's time for good. That's what I'm saying. I feel good about it, man. I know people get excited around this time every year, and for the same reasons. You a fan? I'm a fan. We're all fans, and we should get excited. It's our team. I'm never going to stop being that. Like the joy I got in me knowing it's football season right around the corner, you guys have no idea. I have a hard time sleeping. I'm anxious. It's just the intensity and the passion I have for this game. I don't think it's ever going to leave me. Ever. It just doesn't. I don't think it ever will leave my spirit. I feel it like I'm out there on the field with it. I get the same freaking emotion. So I'm never going to give up on this team. Eventually, they're going to get this thing right, man. I think they're pushing the right buttons right now. Let me see. Few padded practice. That's what you're waiting on, Crimson. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's going to give you all the data that you need. You're going to get all the data that you need and get it. That first, within about 3 or 4 days, I guarantee you, Crimson, you're going to know a lot more than what we know now. Guaranteed. King Booker says, I think I'm going to have to talk with someone about in the parking lot about their training camp ticket. Yeah, man. You talk to them with a little bit of slug back, get some tickets off of them. But wait, if you can wait, man, you better wait another couple of weeks before you go out there, because it's anybody that gets tickets right now and goes too early is going to be they're going to be so disappointed. Cloud Chasers Radio says, Lord, y'all got me feeling super young, class of 09. Shout out, man. We got some vets out here, bro. You got to know that. The real vets in the game. Let me see. How do we look at backup guard? I'm glad you asked me that, Liberty. This gets controversial every time I'm bringing it up. And that's because we've had, I think our key swing guard is going to be Ryan Bates. Strong consideration given to Newman, who's going to go from inside, playing center, playing some guard. And I think both Bates, I don't know about Bates now that we got, now that we got Ricky Stromberg, I don't know how many reps they give Ryan Bates at center. I wouldn't give him too many. We know that he can do it if he needs to, but you want him to get all the reps he can on both sides, whether it's left guard, right guard, and be ready, have him flexible and feeling like he can fill in any one of those roles. Same thing for Luke Newman. I feel really good about the guard situation. Not to mention, we didn't mention Jordan McFadden, who was trying to make a roster spot. I think he might be a good actor. Also, Bill Murray. I love that player right there because he's definitely a solid swing guard. It's definitely a solid swing guard. I feel really good about that right now as we speak. And, obviously they feel good about it early before the pads go on. You haven't heard moves from the offensive line. You hear moves about safeties. You hear moves about receivers and all these other different positions. You haven't heard an offensive line move or an acquisition as of yet. You heard tight end. You heard different positions, but you haven't heard offensive line. And that tells me something, and it gives me a good feeling that we're pretty solid at all those, in particular at guard. I believe Ryan Bates he might be possibly the most valuable piece that we have on the team, in my opinion. Why do I say that? Besides Joe Tooney, who can also play pretty much anything. I never heard of him playing center, but I know for a fact that Ryan Bates has played them all and pretty well. So if that guy is healthy, I definitely feel like this is one of the most improved overnight offensive lines I've seen in a long time. So what do I feel about backup guard position? I feel really good. It's a lot of people that feel otherwise just because of, the availability of and I share those same concerns, but I'm just going to give him the benefit of the doubt because if he's healthy, we got a gold chip right there, just waiting on the sidelines for his opportunity. All right, let me see. Yeah, your girl, she know what's coming, don't she? Yep. It's a Crimson likes Braxton at swing tackle, Kieran at swing guard. We're gonna see if they give him some guard reps here, man, and Newman at center. We'll see. I think they're gonna keep Kieran at tackle, man. I think they're gonna keep him at tackle. But if he ends up, I'll just tell you this: if he ends up playing some guard reps, then we probably got some injuries that we wasn't expecting. That's just what I think. But who knows? Within the next 24 hours or 48 hours, he could be taking guard reps. But right now, he's taking nothing but tackle reps. So we'll have to see. Let me see. Let me see here. Squeegee says there are so many things wrong last year that it was impossible to know what whole field first. This year, we had the best start we've had in a minute. The thing about it is, man, looking at that schedule, Squeegee, I am not. That's a rough schedule. And so to get off to the kind of start that the Bears fans hope and expect us to get off to, I don't know about that, man. But I know this. We got a rookie quarterback on the schedule the first week. That's a good thing. That's a really good thing. And I believe we'll that game, they won't be as explosive in offense as it would have been with the Sam Darnold as quarterback. I'm 100%. There's no way McCarthy is going to be that good that fast. No, we're gonna probably give him problems. And can we keep the game close? So if we can, as many problems as we can give JJ McCarthy, if we can avoid those problems being exacted towards Caleb Williams, if we can minimize those and get the ball out of Caleb Williams' hands early, and we can run the ball, I think the defense will win that game for us. So we can get off to a 1-0 start. I think that's reasonable. But I can't even remember who the second game is. But, from then on, I believe those are some tough games. Until we get at least to our bye week. I think those are some tough games right there. Now, let me see here in the chat. Let me see. Yep, every team got to go out there and prove it. Let me see. Crimson says, I want the tough schedule. Winning games against bums and getting embarrassed in the playoffs might be good for the Lions and Packers, but might be good for the Lions and Packers, but I want more. Hey, man, I share that with you. Like, for me, I'm a competitor. I want the smoke. And so I don't think there's going to be a guy on that roster I can think of that's going to be trying to duck and going to be feeling tight and tense about who they know who they got to. It's about can you match that intensity in a game? That's what it's all about, ain't it, Crimson? When it's a competition, who can match whose intensity? Can they get more intense than you? Can their energy overwhelm yours and dominate the game? You got to match that team's intensity. And so you might have a very confident team feeling like, oh, okay, this is the Bears. We know what this is. And they can get overconfident and come in there and get the shit whipped out of them. And so I love teams like that. So our track record, we are the hunter. We are absolutely the hunter. Nobody is really knowing what to expect coming from the Chicago Bears. That's our secret weapon right about now. Is nobody knows what to expect. The only thing defensively, Dennis Allen hasn't changed in the years that he's been a defensive coordinator. He's going to attack you the same way. He might morph a couple cover 3 coverages, a couple cover 4 coverages, and some blitz, packages. He'll tweak those and you'll get some different looks there, but people know what to expect from a Dennis Allen defense. Now, offensively, that's a whole nother ball of wax. They can look at the Detroit film and say, okay, we know Ben Johnson is going to come at us with the run game. Of course, he's going to come at you with the run game. But how is he going to utilize those weapons that he has now versus the ones he had in Detroit? Those aren't the same guy. They have a different skill set. In my opinion, these guys here in Chicago has a much better skill set than the bunch he had in Detroit. And that's a lot. But I think our guys at our skill group, that room is much more talented than the one he had in Detroit. And so what he can do with the plethora of guys he got, you put those bunch concepts out there, you put Luther Burden in a mix with DJ Moore, Romo Dunze, who knows what you got. And you got, let's just say, one of the tight ends split out wide, like Colston Loveland or something like that. That's going to be a hard formation to deal with. That's going to be a very hard formation to deal with. And so the many ways that he can attack with those pieces, they don't know what's coming at him. So that's our little get out of jail free pass. We could do things to teams instead of them doing them to us. It's all about, I do love how Ben Johnson is as a play caller. He feels the game. And I was watching that a lot on the All-22. He was doing a lot of adjustments in-game calling plays, and he sees a weakness and he goes after it. That's what a good schemer does. He finds a weakness, finds an attack, a defense, and if they aren't doing anything to correct it, he just keeps attacking. Just keeps pouring salt in them. And so it's some simple things like keeping a 12 personnel grouping on the field. Sometimes it's that. Keeping a condensed bunch formation out there. Sometimes it's that. If they don't have the keys and the answers to those tests, he'll keep doing that shit to you. So that's the thing I like about Ben Johnson. He's just, even though he's diabolical with some of the trick plays that he has, most of the stuff he does is really plain. It's just, can you stop it? Can you stop it? It's really good shit to watch on film, but we'll see what he does with this group. Let me look at some more comments in there. Yep. If you want the best, I want the best. And if you can't win against the great teams, then you really ain't winning. That's so goddamn true, man. Yes, sir, Squeegee. It's fun to watch on All-22. I wish I could show more All-22 on here, but YouTube is on the struggle bus as far as that kind of stuff. You pay for that content. It's your content to use, and then you use it on YouTube, and you can't monetize it. I want to show you the stuff that I'm talking about. Maybe I'll just shorten the videos a little bit more and show you guys little bits and pieces. Maybe I'm just showing too much at once. I'll figure it out, but I want to use that content to point out some of the stuff that I'm speaking about right now so that you guys can identify it for yourselves. That's one of the things I think we can do over here on this channel that can help out. So it's a lot of stuff I've seen on all. So I ain't speaking, pulling stuff out of my behind, man, dude. I've seen it on film. It's going to be fun to watch these guys this year. Let me see. So Cloud Chaser says, he said, yeah, DA scheme is much better than Eberflus. Let me talk about that a little bit more. Kenny Adams, shout out to Kenny Adams, just brought up in here. He says Allen's defense is more aggressive than Flus. That's the one thing. And so, again, I spent quite a bit of time this offseason talking about the differences. People wanted to know, okay, we just got Dennis Allen. They say he's a really good defensive coordinator. No matter what does he do? What's different than what he does with Eberflus? And I spent quite a bit of time talking about the zone concepts that Eberflus runs, and he is kind of rigid in those structures and really didn't get out of them enough to really give the defense a chance to really perform. And so he laid those guys out bare, and they all look bad because when guys get out of position, it makes the whole defense. One guy, all it takes is one guy in a zone concept. One guy to kind of get off leverage, get off. If he's off depth a little bit or if he's too close a little bit, the whole defense looks bad. And so those are zone concepts, and those are the principles in them. In man coverage, it's mano y mano. You ain't got no choice. It's going to be, he's going to do a lot more gambling. He's going to do a lot more gambling. That's what man-to-man coverage is confidence. That's probably the key word that you want to remember when it comes to the difference between what Dennis Allen does and what Matt Eberflus does. My coach told me, he's like, you guys are going to always be in zone when I'm not comfortable with some of the guys out there. If I don't think those guys can cover, I'm going to call more zone coverage. That's what he told us in college. So all it took was one or two guys on the defense that he didn't think could cover and could take care of his man. He's going to default to zone coverage. That was Flus like all the time. Even though he had man coverage ability corners on the team, he still stayed in his zone concept. Not Dennis Allen. He's going to come at you. He's going to put pressure on the line of scrimmage, try to speed up the quarterback, and he's going to be tacked up man to man and not giving a whole bunch of separation. He's going to have guys be physical at the line of scrimmage and not wait sitting back 7 yards off you waiting for you to attack them. He's going to have them right up on their man. And what the quarterbacks are going to see is a guy trailing and right there on him. He can either make a play on the ball with his length, or he can make a play on the ball and send it the other way. If that ball is a little bit off trajectory a little bit, you're going to step right in front of it, take it from him, go back to the house. That's the advantages of playing man-to-man. You're not having space for the quarterback to see, openings and windows for the quarterback to see, and just take advantage of people. Uh-oh. My weather radio is going on. Hold on just a sec. Be right back. All right, sorry about that, man. My weather radio just went off, went ballistic. I think we got storm clouds gathering in Chicago area. King, man, check on your people's thunderstorms. I don't know how bad it is, but whenever that weather radio goes off, it ain't good. I know that. But yeah. But Dennis Allen, yeah, that's the difference, guys. Before I get out of here, I want to speak on that just a little bit more. I would just say this before I get out of here is I'm probably 95% more confident in that defense putting it together and being ready early. 95% more confident than I am with the offense. Not because I don't think the offense can get it together. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the pieces we already had in place, and those guys being the guys that they are, I believe that thing is going to come together a lot faster than the offense will. That makes sense to you all. So talking about readiness for a season, ready to go do battle and compete, I think that group they'll get there much quicker than the offense, in my opinion. And that's just how I feel. Let's see what you guys think before I get out of here. Yeah, he's gonna turn Gordon into an all-pro, man. He's already there, in my opinion. The Bears not winning probably cost a few guys we had on the team some Pro Bowls and stuff like that. But that's because we haven't won. Let me see. Let me see. I think I just saw something about dime packaging. Let me go back and look at that. Hold on. Man, what's wrong, man? Hold on. Who said that? Dime packages, I said. Hold on. I know I just saw something about dime packages. Oh, here we go. Squeegee. He says, I'm not familiar with the dime package stuff he runs. Seems odd only having one linebacker and 6 DBs. No, that's certainly a passing down when you see 6 DBs on the field. And here's the thing, you might have extra corners on the field, Squeegee. It might be a dime that way, or it might be extra safeties. So he does use a lot of dime coverage to, let's just say on a passing down. You want to also, at the same time, you want to make sure. I think that's why the Nick McLeod signing is important. I think that guy makes the team because I think he's versatile enough to play either corner or safety, play nickel, play dime. He can play any given role. I think he can play any role in the secondary. As a matter of fact, I'm that confident in him. But when you put dime coverages out there, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a blitz with Dennis Allen. Just don't know which guy. So you get your quicker, twitchier guy on a dime coverage. You would expect he might slide Kyler Gordon to a safety role that's playing from the outside and then send him on a blitz. But to me, when I see dime coverages, when I saw that on all 22, it was usually a blitz from somewhere off the edge. Usually, that's what he likes to do. But that's that, man. Let me look at a few more comments before I get out of here, man, because my girlfriend is on her way home, and I need to see what this weather's going to look like. Shout out to you, Squeegee, man. Y'all have a good one, bro. Yeah, King, I think something's on the way. I'm going to go check it out here in a minute. AC says he can't wait to see it all come together. You and every last one of us in here, bro. For real, for real. Yeah, the offense will take some time, Kenny. Just telling you. For sure. Be expecting that. Let me see. Yeah, you're right about that, King. There ain't gonna be no clean QB jersey. They're gonna come after you. He's gonna get pressure. Just depends on. He's gonna wait to see if his 4 can get there to you. But if they can't, he ain't gonna have no problem dialing it up. He ain't have no problem dialing it up. He ain't gonna wait to the end of the game like Flus did. When it's down there too late, he's gonna come at you. He's full throttle with it. Let me see. Timing with Caleb and the wide receiver group in this offense. That's a good. I know what you're getting at. So that's the last thing I'll say before I get out of here. That's the key to. That's the second part of Caleb Williams is undergoing right now. Right now, he's concerned in himself with making sure he gets the playoff clean as far as, reciting it in the huddle, getting to the line of scrimmage on time, getting the proper checks, getting the proper protection set up, all that kind of stuff, making sure he's at the line at the right time and has a little bit of, clock to work with, and he's not up against it. And so that's the first part that he has to do. The second part is finding rhythm and continuity with his receivers. That's going to come. That's definitely going to come, but he's got to throw a lot of balls with him, and they got to come live. Can't be doing after practice stuff on air. I think that's simulating what really happens in the game. He's got to efficiently find rhythm with them with 11 on 11s during pads and stuff. So that's when he's going to have to find his real rhythm with those guys. But hey man, that's what I got for today. Looking forward to doing some more tomorrow. We'll see how I don't know exactly what time. I'm trying to get that down to a regular time so you guys can expect Feed the Bears at a certain time. Today was a good time to come out here at this time. Let's just say we come back out here tomorrow again at 1. Let's just for now, I'll just set that up now. But you never know what's going to happen. You never know when I might have to go live. We'll shoot for 1 o'clock and let's see how it goes, man. But that's me for today. That's Feed the Bears for today. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you guys come back tomorrow. Whenever we go live, man, make sure you hit the notification bell. That's going to help you out, and you'll know ahead of time when we're going to do this live. And make sure if you did not, and if you are not subscribed to the channel, if you're looking at it and watching the show from a distance and you weren't in the chat, all you have to do is hit the subscribe button. It is totally free. It costs you not a damn thing. Hitting the subscribe button costs nothing. And I'm going to have to get muscle memory in my head to say that all the time. I think there's still a lot of people out there that thinking subscribe to a channel means you have to pay for something. No, absolutely not. It's free. Costs you nothing at all. But make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like and notification bell and share it with your people. But before I get out of here, I want to leave you guys with these famous words. If you can think it and you can see it, there's no reason in the world why you cannot absolutely manifest it. Do not, and I repeat, do not be a prisoner of your own mind. But with that being said, I am